that she's real and she's right and she's rocking for you anytime you want her to, okay? Don't believe me? Tune into this little page over on Facebook called Pope Mary Jane, okay? Check that action out, baby, and you'll see what she be, okay? Because there's a picture of her right there in the headline, and right there at the top of the head picture there, you see. There's old Mary Jane lighting up with a wine bottle made into a candle, man. It's beautiful, baby. I tell you, she's a wild thing like that, too. But she's not reckless, and she's not stupid, okay? She knows the way because she flows with the heart, man. And of course, that runs a little contrary to the reality around you. But guess what? The more it has found you, the more you can live in it too. Well, the better the rest of the world around you can be because, babies, you're here to make history, okay? I thought so. I thought you'd see it our way. Baby, it's the spring creek sort of way. It's that beginning moment, that little moment of truth, when that first little trickle that you notice comes up from your heart right here, right now, because we're sharing them golden rays of love on this radio show all across this earth, don't you know? Yes, indeed. We're worldwide here at Hazy Radio, by golly, and you just better be listening in wherever you be, okay? Because that's what helps you along the way. Some people just have an epiphany one day. They don't have to meditate, vegetate, or even pray, man. They just say, man, I had enough. What's going on here, you see? And all of a sudden they start to see beyond the 3D. A lot of you younger folks gifted beyond belief. What took us old farts 30 years to get to, you get in 35 seconds or less, man. I tell you, you're really grooving, and I know you're moving this earth in a good way. And I think what we got going on today, governmentally and in this world too, the background scene and all that, the reality of the Nazis and so forth, trying to, impose a worldwide government on us. Ooh, danger, danger, Will Robinson. Now, some of you don't even know what that means. That was the robot on Lost in Space. Danger, danger, Will Robinson, it would say every time Will went to make a bad move, Well, sometimes Will didn't listen, so, he got his medicine that way. Same as we do when we doubt our little heart and say, okay, I don't want to play it that way. I don't want to roll the window down. I don't want to drive to town, etc. Whatever it is, man, you see. When you doubt the flow, that's how you get to know what the flow be, okay? So don't hate yourself for turning in the wrong direction or what seemed to be. It's the right direction if it redirects you in the flow, baby, don't you know? Big old circle goes round and round, baby, and here you are found on this side of town. And starting to get it clear, dear. Your old Grandpa Coyote, yeah, indeed, you got a friend. Anytime you need it, man, just tune in to Grandpa, and I'll be there. I'm like that, so are you. Everybody is too. Some people just a little more aware of that right now than others. But we're all starting to catch on. You watch what happens in this reality stuff we've been waiting for years. Suppressed technologies for 100 years, man. Stuff that would have made life so easy, but they wouldn't let us have it. They being people with lots of money, therefore lots of power and lots of greed. Got to fulfill that empty need, you see. But don't blame them. Blame yourself, man. Don't blame anyone. There is no blame, It's just a game. It's just a movie that we're living in, you see, and it's very real when with it we do deal. But you see, there's a script behind it, a manuscript, man, and a script and a way to be and a way to flow, and your role to play, don't you know? That's what's in the flow of the heart right here, right now. That's what that spring creek is, that first little trickle of clear understanding, man. Cool, clear understanding, because you are cool when you understand, man. And then you go with that flow, and this earth starts to flow with you, don't you know? And all this contrariness, all this backwards reality begins to remedy itself, you see. Because you allow it inside of you, and I allow it inside of me, and the doggy, of course, allowed it a long time ago. He don't know any other way. Okay, same with most of the animal kingdom, too. Though they can get PO'd, and you can mistreat them, and they can certainly mistreat you. Do you ever think about that? Cattle, they're big, huge animals. Do you think they really have to be slaughtered that way and all that stuff? No way, man. They know better. They're making a voluntary sacrifice. So you'll wake up and quit eating other things. Okay? Hey, I'm talking to myself too, man. I just, we all have a ways to go, but yet we're already there. And when we follow that flow, we begin to know that and see that and live that. And life gets a whole lot easier and simpler too. No matter what you're going through, it won't affect you in the way it has before because you already know the love behind it. And even though somebody might not be on the same wavelength or might not agree with you or whatever, you just let it be and you see the whole of the reality. And it's okay. They can have it that way for a moment or two. But when they encounter the likes of you, well, baby, that hateful thing, it's all through. Here's what you do. Just be who you are. That's all. Just shine, man, because you do. Feel that warmth? Feel that love growing from the center of your chest outward in every direction? See? That's a reality in this 3D. Comes through me, comes through you, comes through all of us tuned in here. All around this old rockin' world. This whirling world, eh? Make you dizzy sometimes, eh? But baby, this is the way we play. This is why we're here right now today. And I think we ought to be, doing it that way all the time, eh? That's what your old grandpa say here on that Everclear Hazy Radio Network there with Spring Creek, the rockin'est, funnest little radio show you ever come to know and to love and to trust as if it was your mother, okay? Because this is the real mother, the one you always wanted to have. Don't fault that mother here. She did the best she could, dear, just like you do, okay? That we all have our little hang-ups. We all have our little problems, the blocks we can't seem to get beyond. But babies, they melt away when the heart comes out to play. Don't you know that's the mother energy? And then you got the direct love of the father right behind it too, see? But the mother energy, that's the one that gives you life and enjoys it too, okay? The feeling one. And feeling is the way, but it's not just a fleeting feeling, okay? It's deep and profound, yet as light as can be. And it lightens you up too, don't you see? And you won't weigh as much anymore, by the way, even no matter what your body looks like, okay? Because you'll be a little lighter. Yeah, you're getting it righter and righter each and every day here with Grandpa in that coyote sort of way. But that's what the coyotes, we do play. We are coyotes, wouldn't you say? Fooling ourselves all the time, man. Well, one thing I've learned, I don't buy from Acme anymore. Do you? Acme is like defective products in every way. Because the Roadrunner owns it, okay? That's a view I held in my childhood. In fact, I was born dreaming that dream where everybody just gets along, man. And it's all peace and prosperity, and everybody's happy. Nobody's, homeless. Nobody's sick and dying. None of this suffering is going on, you see. And I think we're pretty close to that moment here in the 3D. In fact, it might be your moment right now for a sweet little epiphany, another breakthrough in your understanding, baby, of what's really going on here. Now, old Grandpa's only here to help you get it clear and help you rock your way into a brand new life along with himself, okay? Because we're all human beings and we're all making it along the way. And I don't see anybody above another. I don't see anybody as better or worse than another. I sure see a lot of craziness being acted out in this 3D. There certainly is a bunch of that. And I see the sinister plots behind a lot of it, Maybe not all of it, but, I'm gifted in that way. I know what people are thinking and what they're going to say and so forth, I have to shut it off most of the day because, if otherwise you get overwhelmed, eh? But in that gifted sort of way, I know then the center heart of everyone, too. See, I know what's really there. I don't care if they're clones, man. If they got, pardon me, I got to turn down the sound in the outdoors here. Yes, sir. Baby dear, oh, there we are now. We got it clear. Darlings, we love you so here on this Hazy Radio Network, don't you know? But as I was saying, I don't put anybody above another or below another because I see us all in that heart. I see that heart in everything, even some of our machines. If it's made from human hand, it's got the human element in it, you see. And that's what connects us in the 3D, because we're all moving in the same flow of heart, don't you see? No matter what the projection is, no matter what, the person's acting like, the reality is we are all chill inside. And we all are connected. And more than that, we're all the same person, the same energy. In your person, yes, you get one element of it, you see, and that's your specialty here in this 3D. Somebody right alongside you completely different, don't you see? And they flow their way and you flow yours. But guess what? It all goes to this center point. It's like a great big wheel with a billion spokes or more on it, and each of those spokes are an individual path. And it all leads to the center, to the place where everything turns and the motion gets created, because there's ball bearings in there and so on and so forth to keep that wheel is spinning, and the girls are grinning, right? That's the way we did it back in the day. I hope you're still doing that, okay? I don't know about all this technology. It seems to have robbed you of your heart, man, and, taking it away. But babies, guess what? We're using this technology to help it come back, okay? And so's a lot of others in their own certain way. You see, I don't see truth as anything you can speak about either. I mean, you can speak about it, but you can't really convey it with words. Truth is not words. Truth is a thought, a feeling that connects to a deep thought and makes life work, brings it forward in a divine harmony. This is the place we seek to be. We're working our way back to it here in the 3D, ain't we, you see? Yep. I think Okie, see, I don't put nobody above another, not even a dog. Dog, I respect their place in this reality. Horses, too. Eagles, hawks, all of those kind of things. I respect the places they be and what they represent, don't you see? And the connections we have with them here in the 3D. I'll never forget when this whole thing really began. It was a turnaround time in my life. I told you about the near-death experience I had way back when I was ranching there in southern Oregon. Well, here I was, maybe it was a month or two later. I don't remember, but that death moment came and all that. But before that, there was this moment of truth where the eagle and I connected, you see. Now, I knew I was having a hard time of it. I knew I was going down. I was seeing a naturopath and so forth, and I didn't know. And I was just in my young 40s then, way young still, Nothing should have been happening like that. But yet, I was amazed I'd lived that long, to tell you the truth, because I've been exposed to a lot of wild stuff, and by rights I should have been dead, But by, the normal conditions, I would have been dead. But here I was, coming back to life a little bit at a time, ever since that moment where I went to death and came back to life, you see. But here, this was just a little before that. They were having a big old gathering down here at the Grand Canyon. I think the Hopi people were sponsoring it in the summer. I think it was June or July, And I was too ill to make it there, plus I just didn't have the means to get there. I just wasn't equipped financially. That ranch took everything from me, but gave it all back in a way that, I still praise today. I'm a lucky guy in some ways, man. I've sure lived in some beautiful places, paradise everywhere you go, man. And I just really feel blessed, I was living like a billionaire out there on that ranch, I had the things that billionaires pay billions for. The beauty of nature all around you, and the truth of life coming through. So I was having a little gathering myself there at the ranch because I couldn't go down to Arizona to join them. I would join them, here in southern Oregon, and we would party down and have a great time, and we did. I got a few dozen friends out there to the house. We live in a very remote place, but it's always been kind of a social gathering place, and there was the social gathering. Finally, round about noon, somebody started drumming. It's supposed to be a drum beat, and somebody started drumming, and another person, and, I was a little worn out. I'd been doing a little barbecuing and so forth, so I didn't have much energy yet. I was gaining it, but I wasn't there yet. I was still pretty weak. And anyhow, I went over and laid down on the lawn there, and then taking my typical break, soaking up the sun, doing my little communication with the universal hearts, And anyhow, I hear a hawk cry above me. We had a pair of red-tailed hawks living in the canyon behind us. And I knew them personally, of course. You know, you live around these things. They're your neighbors, man. You get to know them, okay? Oh, baby. Never forget the day the spaceship come flying through real low over the ranch. I mean, it was 100 foot up, man. And it was vibrating, whom, whum, 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 whum. But it was hidden in a dark cloud, but you could hear it and feel it. It even made the ground shake a little bit, you know. I think they were just showing off, you know, but I never forget. Lots of amazing things happened at that old ranch, I'll tell you. But the most amazing was this one, where I was laying there on my lawn during the drum beat, and I heard that hawk cry up there. And I opened my eyes and looked up, and there was that red-tailed hawk attacking a great big eagle. I mean, this eagle must have had a 10-foot wingspan, or at least 8 feet. I couldn't say for certain, but it was huge. Let's put it that way. And it had spots, dusty spots on the bottom. Beautiful patterns, man. Guys, awesome. One of the most gorgeous flying little animals I ever seen, man. Just, a fulfillment of everybody's dream in that big old bird. I'll tell you, he was knockout gorgeous. Now, we'd had a few bald eagles hanging around, and we had, those kind that hunt fish. I can't remember what they're called right now, hanging around, but we had never seen a spotted eagle, you know. Not in this lifetime, not until then. I might have been around one or two, but I'd never seen them. You know what I mean? You just see what your eyes will let you see. You know? Here in the 3D, that could lead to a little difficulty, because sometimes what you see, what somebody else sees, ain't always the same, man. But anywho, so there was this moment while I'm laying there, just before the hawk cried, and I looked up and saw the eagle. Just before that, there was a strange thing happened to me personally. I was laying there with my, just laying on the grass with my hands along my legs, you know, and looking upwards, you know, but with my eyes closed. And all of a sudden, I hear this voice says, "Open your hands, palms up." And I did, you know, automatically. When I hear that stuff, I know where it comes from, my heart, you know, and all of a sudden there was bomb, like this rainbow triangle between my third eye and my open palms of the hand, you know. So when I looked up and saw the eagle, that energy went right to that eagle and right to me, and we were unified in that moment. Like I was the eagle and I was up there flying, and he'd laying on the ground down there with me, and I'm back up there in the 3D, you know, laying on the ground too. But wow, it was just a union, and it lasted like maybe, I don't know, time's really hard to tell. It was a while. It wasn't no hour. It was a few minutes, let's put it that way. and then he went on his way, you know. But he hung around the ranch for quite a while after that, hunting our digger dogs and so forth. Beautiful. That's how I know him so well. Then one day I'm driving out. I finally got well enough to drive, and I'm driving out of the place to go see somebody down in Grants Pass. And son of a gun, if this eagle didn't swoop down beside me. I'm going 30 miles an hour on this gravel road, and where there's this clear area around the corner from me where there's no trees, you know, for about a mile or two. And so he swooped down right there, right beside me, not 5 feet from my automobile, my little Subaru wagon, one of them tiny little yeller one. Boy, I beat the daylights out of that poor little car. That was a great little car, man. I even pulled a big old international 4x4 out of the creek one time with that little car. It's an amazing little car. I said they'd do anything for you, man, if they could. You know, they weren't no big Jeep, but they sure were handy and a versatile and pretty reliable automobile, man. I sure put some miles on that one. But here comes this eagle right down there beside me, man, and flies alongside of me for all the way, man, and just sure and steady. And again, I felt that union of hearts, you know, and I knew then that I was on the right path, that the eagle was with me no matter whatever else I do. And in a sense, that's where Spirit Wind Productions began. It was right there in those moments of connection with that eagle, that spotted eagle, you see. So he's the real founder of the movement, and I'm just the human side of it, okay? And we're working it through here in the 3D and bringing that energy to you day after day here on the Everclear Hazy Radio Network, man. The rockin'est radio network you've ever come to know, especially since Grandpa's here to help you along the way with sweet medicine for your heart and soul, don't you know? The water of life flowing forward in Spring Creek, man. which is the stream of life as it begins, okay, right here in this moment. This moment is your eagle moment, you see. And maybe there's an eagle flying above you right now, you see. Or flying right with you right there in your heart. Perhaps there's even a dove, and they're flying together, and there is no enmity between them. Perhaps it's a white dove. Where is that? We got to get that one up. Anywho, perhaps it's a white dove flying along there in your heart, man. And I tell you, they're meant for you. And let me look this baby. Let me find this guy back in our green room here. Hang on just a minute. Let's see. There we are. There, the Archie Bell and the Drells, man. I'll tell you what. But, oh, it's the bells. Okay, not the Drells. The bells, man. I got to get better glasses, eh? I can't tell who's who anymore. We're all starting to look the same, man. You know, human beings, well, we have our nuances and our extreme differences. But when it comes right down to it, we're the same material body. No matter what we exhibit on the outside, on the inside, we're all pretty much the same. And, you know, we get on with that doctrine game. But oh my goodness, today is today when this all goes away. Because enough of that has come to play. You see, people have these little epiphanies. You know, I put this thing up on Facebook that says this, but people that have, and that's what reminded me of it, little epiphanies just out of nowhere. You don't have to practice no form of meditation or anything. Just be ready and willing, you know, which I was in that moment the eagle came to me. That's why when I hear somebody telling me, turn your hands up, turn your palms up, I did. And son of a gun, magic starts to happen. I didn't prescribe that, you know. I do communication things, you know, like it's not really meditation, but it's kind of like that. But it does help me along and help me see between the realities and the place I really be. Well, I hope you're finding it too, babies. I don't want you to feel blue. I want you to know what's really true, and truth can only be coming from you. See, that's why you recognize truth outside of you, you see, because you've got that ability. You got that truth in you, and when it finds something that matches it, it loves it. Of course, how would it be otherwise, you know, because that's the same love. That's the real truth, and it's something that really goes beyond words. Words can only attempt to describe it. Words cannot be the truth. See, it's where a lot of people got misled in the 3D. You can actually be hypnotized by words, you know, and led astray if you let yourself. And if you see yourself have done that or are doing that, well, babies, just set yourself free. If you see it, you're already free of it. You just back away from that. You don't do it that way anymore, you know. I learned a meditation when I was young that really some people used to abuse me in a lot of ways. You can read about that in the Atomic Bomb. Well, I'll tell you, it's been a very unusual life, but I have grown so much because of it. Now, the Atomic Bomb is a book I wrote a while back. I'm going to have a book signing here in Taos one of these days. I haven't got a date yet, but I will, and we'll be doing a book signing here somewhere. Magic places everywhere you go, man. But anywho, the Atomic Bomb's this book I wrote under a pen name called Coyote Bear, which is really my last name, Coyote Bear, B-A-R-E. And that really is me, kind of bare and naked, don't you see? At least a few years back, but its time is now. Because it's finally the point where enough people are coming back to life that this book would really be something you'd want to read nowadays, because it'll help you see the way. And, you know, that's one level of it, and then my next book, you know, will be another level of it, you know, another moment of truth, you see. But not something, you know, I don't want nobody to read that book and say, oh, that's the Bible now, or anything like that, you know. I just want you to let those words have awakened that truth in you so you can live it too, see. And as you do, I will, and everybody else too, you see. We're all in this together. And the more that awaken, the more inclined to be awakened the rest of the people are. No matter how crazy and stupid they might be right now and what kind of life they're living. They're just not doing what they're given, that's all. And they don't know any better because what? They've been kind of hypnotized or brainwashed, as you say. And they think that's the way. They hold it by belief. That's what makes people want to go out and share their beliefs everywhere, because they want everybody else to believe as they do, so they feel justified in it. Then they know it's true, see? That's the tricky part of words. They can be used to mislead you greatly. But, if you're just in your heart, you know the difference in the flow of truth and otherwise. So any words that are really describing the truth come to you beautifully and poetically, and it rings bells inside, more or less. And you see that truth, and then you be that truth because you know that's real. Right next to it, in the next paragraph, might be the biggest lie you ever heard. But you know that. And you just skip over it, that's and then you go to the next one, and there's all this beautiful truth, see? Same way dealing with people that do the kind of thing I do out here in the 3D. You just let it awaken whatever part of the truth you want to see. That's all. And no requirements, nothing, no meditation, nothing is required. Of course, I always see the third eye and the hands as the instruments of the heart, you see. This is our outward form of expression, I'm almost ready to become a painter again, and I could leave a few Van Goghs behind, eh? Oh, baby. Not really. I'm just kidding around about that. But, geez, they get a lot of money for that. And it doesn't take long to, slap a little paint on a canvas. But most of the artists I know, they get it just about done and they don't like it, so they redo it and paint over the top of it, or, change the whole nature of it, etc. It's just like, it's crazy. But that's what happens when you're working in less than a heartfelt condition. You don't always know that your rendition might have been right 3 paintings ago, but you couldn't take it, so you just had to fake it and go back to a lesser thing than a more thing. See, paintings can be used to convey truth too, to remind you of what's there. See, the simple painting of a pear, for example, has something to say. And if you look at it with your heart open, you'll hear it. You'll see it. You'll understand another way. And you'll have the simplicity of the seeded fruit in you. And you'll blossom out into a gigantic orchard of love, too, in a metaphorical sense. And there'll be blossoms, fragrant blossoms everywhere, because you cared to be there. Bless yourself then for this life you're living. No, in that white dove, you're all forgiven. There was nothing there. We're innocent in that heart. If you see and understand, then you can be, man. And you let go of all this stupid shame and guilt and all this stuff that drove us in such crazy directions and gave us such nasty infections and terrible, hard, suffering lives to live, never satisfied with anything, so that one day we would be satisfied with everything. You see how it goes in the 3D? That's the medicine of the coyote. That's the medicine you find everywhere, throughout the universe, if you want to look. It won't take long either. Open your heart, open your hands, be alive, be in overdrive inside. In other words, loving and appreciate everything that's here, including what you're doing in it right now, dear, whatever it might be. It might be the worst moment you ever experienced, but you're blessed and you're getting through it right now. See, as we all move towards change, our physical bodies become affected too, and sometimes we let things come through that we really shouldn't. But we live our own form of suffering, in service to others, of course. But it's not a Jesus-like thing. It's more like a personal thing, a ripening of our heart and soul, till we finally learn the true empowerment of that heart. Then all these illnesses can be let go. We no longer live in a disconnected reality, where one can seem to rise above another and have power over it. With the simplicity of the dove, we find the full expression of our love. When we have them little moments of epiphany, baby. Give yourself some time today. You never know what might come your way, eh? This is what Grandpa say on this beautiful, gorgeous, and fantastic free day, Friday, man. Could you think of a better day to be alive than right now? I didn't think so. We've all had our sweet moments. But the reality is, we live in truth. We live in love all the time. That's what makes us innocent, see? We're like actors in a play. Are the actors guilty if they do something really nasty in the movie? Out on the street, they don't act that way. They're pretty decent folks, wouldn't you say? See? See what I'm doing? See what we're doing here? It's acting in a play, baby, in a video game of love, man. We start to realize, then we start to merge the worlds together, and no longer will we be living in a lesser place. Now you got a smile on your face. Love you so, don't you know? Here on the Everclear Hazy Radio Network, hazyradio.com. We got it on when Grandpa is coming your way, okay?